All right.
Are we live?
We are live. Welcome to the Mark Hope Show. I'm your producer, Daniel, and we're live with Mark.
And we have a very special guest tonight.
Right.
And we have a very special story. And I don't know if we covered this on the last show, but I was going to get a new Cadillac. And by new, I mean obviously a lease return, something that I'm not going to take depreciation on for 3 years. But I wanted to get something that was, 3 years old and like 30,000 miles. And the car was originally like $105,000, and I made a deal and got it for $51,000. And then we're going to have an Andy Rooney moment. And I'll wait till we get our guest on tonight, but it's going to be a great, great story. And,
okay. All right. And tonight we have Norris Schleeter from SOS Inspections on, who's going to talk to us. And I'm just going to switch over to him so you can see him instead of me. And there we go. Norris, welcome to the show.
Hi. Glad to be here.
I am just kind of trying to pull my show up on my monitor so I can follow along what's going on. The lovely Mrs. Hope chimed in with great sound. She is tracking us from the lobby.
As always.
Okay, so we...
Do you have a story?
Yes, I bought this car and it was just it was exactly what I wanted. I went out and test drove it. It looked really good. And I did the deal and I got some money off and took it home. And I was really, really super happy with my new Cadillac Escalade. It was black, black, black. And it was exactly what I wanted. And I did what I normally do. Hey, Rick and Kathy. Those are our Wisconsin people. But I had Norris come over that Monday. I went in and bought it on a Friday and then had Norris come in on that Monday. And what Norris does is he checks out the car front to back, top to bottom, all the internal systems and all the things that you want to make sure. And what I was doing was I had an appointment at the dealership because this particular car was under warranty. And so I was going to have Norris, go through everything and tell me what to have the dealership fix. And I got some bad news. Do you want to tell him, Norris, what happened, or do you want me to continue the story?
Well, I think the important part of that story is you took it home with an opportunity to take it back, right? So there was what was that, a 5-day?
3 days.
3-day return policy. And so I come over and check it out, and I find that the dealer has been hiding something from you. And in fact, what they were hiding was the fact that the car had been in a wreck.
Right.
And in Colorado, they call that material damages or material particulars, depending on...
And just so everybody knows, it was not something that I could readily see. I looked the car over pretty well. I spent $50,000 on it, so I looked it over.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was really nice. It rode really nice. I would not have known that there was a problem with the car had I not had Norris look it over for me. And it was something in the hood. You saw that the hood wasn't replaced.
Yeah,
correctly?
something in the front end. The front parts didn't line up right. The hood didn't line up right with the headlight, and the grill didn't line up, and stuff like that. And ordinarily it wouldn't be such a big deal, or it was always a big deal, but there was really no hook that you could go back on a dealer until 2016. When the laws changed here in Colorado, it's just like Colorado's an at-will employment state that you buy an as-is car. There was really no consumer protection. But although I didn't like our previous governor, he did a few things for consumer protection that I thought were just genius. And one of them was to urge the dealer board to include a new clause, and that went into effect in 2016. Dealers are required to disclose material damages. So that means anytime you buy a car, they're supposed to tell you, hey, well, look, Mark, this thing was in a crash. We don't know when, but when our tech looked at it, he saw some paint things going here, and so we just wanted to let you know it was in a little crash, fender bender, whatever.
Well, and what they did do, and I'm not going to say the name of the dealership because I really don't think there was a purposeful, misleading of the customer in this case. Especially when I went down there, they were very, very good about undoing it very quickly, and I was very impressed with that.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna knock them at all. But for the educational purposes, I want to just make sure that we get the whole story out. And one of the other things as a result of the wreck, which it's wrecked and it's repaired, and who cares?
Yeah.
But then Norris used all of his tools to check the electrical systems and the safety systems and all the stuff that was going on in the car, and he said, Mark, this thing keeps failing, and some of the safety systems aren't working right. He said, this is not going to be a good car for you,
Right.
even if you don't really care about the poorly painted hood.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. You can get past that sometimes. Yeah.
But electrical problem with a car, especially in the safety systems and the things that are happening, you've got a problem.
That's right.
And that's when you and I both said, hey, let's not do this.
Yeah.
And the nice thing that happens, and Norris said, any of the customers, any of the listeners that are listening to this show, if they have any questions, Daniel's going to put up a phone number later for you guys. Call into the show, and you can ask whatever questions you want about cars. And Norris said, pretty much any question about any car, he's ready to answer questions, and I think that's pretty good testament to his expertise.
There are questions about buying cars,
Yeah,
about selling cars, about the emissions laws in the state of Colorado, gas and diesel, how to pick a good repair shop.
well, and as you guys know, on this show, I do not endorse or have people on the show that are not people that have passed my vetting process. They have to be people that I've done business with, that I feel comfortable with, and I feel comfortable having you listeners, do business with the people that I'm doing business with. In Norris' case, there's only one car that out of all the cars that we have right now that Norris hasn't done a full report on, and that's Luann's Mercedes-Benz. And I think that there just wasn't a reason, or I just didn't think of it.
I don't think we were hooked up at that time.
I don't remember that.
We hadn't started working together then.
I'll tell you the different, and don't be stupid like me. And hopefully this is the last time that I'm going to be stupid. And I should have Norris go over and look at the dang thing before I buy it. And that would have saved me a lot of heartburn, and that would have saved me a lot of trouble on it. But I just got really excited. I've been looking for this Platinum Edition Cadillac, and it had all the things that I wanted on it. And it was still under warranty, so I figured, well, I'm going to do it. But for sure, I'm going to spend a couple $100. I'm going to have Norris go through it front to back, and I did do that.
Yep.
After I was really stupid, then I was really smart. And just so everybody knows, had I not done that, I could have been into a $10,000 to $15,000 problem with a problem car in my hands, and trying to sell it back out to the open market, having to tell people, because I would never try to cheat somebody.
Right.
And so, you really saved my bacon that day. That was a kind of a hard day for me. And I was driving over there going, what are you? You are impulsive. And, it's a good thing that I've made a lot of money taking risks, and I've done a lot of that kind of thing. Because in this case, it was just, I should have just not been so excited about it. And I should have called you, and you go right to the dealership.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or a King Super parking lot, or wherever the car happens to be. Today I was
Right. If it's a private park.
today I was in a college parking lot out in West Colfax, the Institute of Art out there on West Colfax.
Yeah.
Checking out a 2014 Ford F-150 Raptor.
Oh, that's an expensive truck too.
Yeah, that was a nice ride.
Well,
Nice ride.
and as everybody that watches the show knows, and we're going to kind of put more of that information out. But if you want to get a hold of Norris or any of the companies that we mentioned on the show, we're going to have it in the show notes. We're going to have the link to his website and any of his social media and the different things that Dan Goodnight. Dan is the guy that's going to work on my Ford truck tomorrow. He's going to pull a dent out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy, too. Dan, you should put your phone number in with that comment. A lot of telltale signs to look for in a used car buying. Sorry, battery's about gone. Trying to hang on. We got you, Dan. We'll put your number in. But I forget what was I saying? Oh, in the show notes, the comments and the links, Daniel, you put his number up at the top. That's not to call into the show.
Right.
That's actually Norris's phone number.
Yeah, the number that's up there is his phone number for his business.
Okay.
And also his Facebook right there. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll put it in the show notes and we'll wrap it up when you go to iTunes or you go to Google Play or YouTube. All of that's going to be in the show notes if you forward it to somebody or whatever. And if you say, hey, look, what about that guy that was on the Mark Hope show? You can forward all that collateral information, and then you could talk to Norris directly and just let him know you heard about it on the show. And, it's such a good thing. It's just such a good peace of mind. I mean, I'm so happy that I dodged that bullet. But, on my Corvette, I did it again. I bought a car, and then I had you come over and take a look at it. And there were some funny things with the belt, and there was a wheel pulley or whatever it was off, and in that
harmonic
case,
balancer was wobbling.
That's exactly what it was.
Yep.
But he gave me a full list, and this report that he gives you, he'll email to you, is very long, very detailed, and very specific about everything. And, you okay?
Yeah, there's some headphones right there. Would you mind handing it to me? Just over the top. Thank you so much.
But I was able to take that report, and I gave it to my local shop, and I said, hey, this is a Corvette. My daughters are going to be driving it around. I want to make sure that it's safe. And they took your report and from top to bottom fixed everything.
Oh, they did?
Yes, top to bottom. They fixed it all up.
Nice.
And then I knew I had a good, safe car. So
Nice, solid ride. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a car that you're buying. It doesn't have to be part of the transaction of the sale. One of the things that I really suggest people to do is you're going to put your student driver who's 16 or 17 years old into a car, a family car, and you want to make sure that it's safe. Hey, it's worth $200.
It is.
Go through it.
It is.
Make sure the brakes are good and make sure that it's an independent outside person, not a shop that's, trying to get money for repairs out of you, not from somebody who's trying to sell something to you. And, a lot of times they don't know.
It's not that shops are always bad either. It's just that sometimes shops really aren't paying attention to the kind of little things that you want looked at. Like, for instance, the last car I looked at for a student, it was a family car, hand-me-down. Mom was giving away her econo car.
Which we do all the time.
And, it's a great thing for kids. Great thing. And I look at the car, and it actually wasn't doing too bad, except that the floor mat was all wadded up in a big knot right around the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Well, and if you remember back in the news a few years ago, Toyota got in trouble for unintended acceleration on their cars. Turned out it was the floor mats that were causing the problem.
Right.
And that can happen on any car. So, floor mats are part of a good inspection on a car.
But that wasn't a particularly expensive thing for those parents to take care of.
Simple. And in fact, in that case, Mom said, I don't feel like buying any floor mats for this old turd of a car.
Take them out.
I said, take them out, put them in the trash can. She goes, I'll do that later. I said, no, let me just do that for you.
Yeah.
I just yanked them out, threw them in the trash can, and said, there we go, safe car, good to go.
And that's really the main thing, is just to make sure that you've got a good, safe car.
It's dangerous out there. It really is. You got to have a safe car.
And especially if you're a younger driver, or we got some Colorado weather conditions or whatever. One of the other things on my Ford truck, I have this truck that I really love, and there was something about the servicing of the differential that something happened, and it's like the rear axle. I took it to 3 different shops, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with it. And when I backed up, it had made a kind of mild grinding noise. And when I was in certain low speed situations, it would be grinding. And this wasn't really a safety issue necessarily that I felt bad about for myself. If the wheels got locked up, I figured like I'd be okay or whatever. My worry in that case was, I've got this really expensive truck. And I bought it used like I always do, but it was a really expensive truck when it was new, and it was expensive when I bought it. And here these things are grinding, and this whole time I'm thinking, man, I am going to grind this thing into a very, very expensive problem if the gears are not meshing together or whatever. And so again, finally I got sick of these shops, and they were good shops, but nobody had any answers for me. So I called up Norris and I said, look, I want you to just do a full thing on my truck, and look at everything, but I want you to concentrate on this problem that I have in the pumpkin of this truck. And it happened again, and Norris fixed everything. He didn't fix it, but he identified the problem. And I went to the shop and said, this is what he says it is. This is what he thinks that you need to do to make the problem go away.
Had a solution.
And they did it. And it worked. And it was exactly that, because the last time I had it in for an oil change, and this was a couple years ago, you did my truck, but I had it in for an oil change, and they did a regular diff flush, and it started doing it again.
Right.
So I took it back there, and I said, hey, he said put 2 bottles of this differential goop in there, and it fixed it again. So being armed, and again with that report, I sent it right to the shop, to the general manager of the shop, and I said, you read this technical stuff. It's not in my wheelhouse, but it's in his wheelhouse, and it's in your wheelhouse. And now I have paid somebody independently to tell them what the problem is, and I need you guys to fix the problem. And I think that's powerful in cases where you believe something's going on, and the shop isn't either playing fair, or they're acting like maybe they don't know,
or just not paying attention,
or maybe they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to repair it.
Right.
Maybe you're saying, "Hey, look, it makes all these noises." Maybe they're saying, "Hey, look, 10,000 miles and the warranty will be up. Let's not notice it."
Right.
And I actually called a Cadillac dealership in town. And again, I'm not going to bust on anybody's balls necessarily, so I'm not going to mention the Cadillac dealership. However, I called them and I said, this thing's under warranty. I want an appointment at your shop, and I want it gone through front to back. And I want you to fix everything that you find. And the lady told me, we can't do that.
That's right.
Maybe you can expound on that a little
That's
bit.
quite a surprise, isn't it? It comes as a shock to people when they know their car's under warranty, and they know the car needs repairs. They take it in and say, fix everything. Well, the dealer techs and the service departments are forbidden by contract to seek out and upsell warranty work to the manufacturer. In other words, if you don't complain about something very specifically, then they're not going to look for it, and they're not going to repair it under warranty. So you would have to say, right, I have a squeak from the front on a left turn when it's cold at 10 miles an hour. And then they'll go look at that and fix that.
But if there's something right next to it,
they won't say a word, because they're forbidden by the licensing and the dealership franchise agreement from upselling work to the manufacturer. They just can't do it.
That's exactly what happened to me. Only I knew that I was going to have a comprehensive list from you, so I didn't worry about it that much. But,
Yeah.
It took me back that, because I was wanting to have double coverage. I was wanting to have my own list, and then I want to find things that they found and their recalls and all that. They were not going to be looking out for my best interests on this car. And it was important to me because it was, I don't know, I had like 6 months left of the warranty and another 9,000 miles or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was buying this car with the benefit of the warranty, and I wanted to get everything covered while it was under warranty.
Yeah.
And, I'm a kind of a self-insurance type of guy, and I'm not really a big warranty guy, but if I'm buying something that has a warranty, I want to take advantage of it.
It came with the car. You paid for it. Yeah.
And so, that's another way to use the SOS service. If you're in a car and your warranty is about to run out, and you don't just want to trust somebody to say, oh, we're going to take care of everything for you. You might want to call you guys and say, hey, look, give me a comprehensive list so I can tell the dealer to fix all this stuff. And it's dated, and there's film of things going on. As a matter of fact, when you did my truck, there was a cable that was running beneath the truck because I have one of those automatic bed liner cover deals that kind of covers the back of the truck, and there was a wire with a loam, kind of a fabric loam around that wire, and in the report on my truck, Norris noted from under the car, underneath, and I don't know where you get to all these places around the car.
Big old long arms. I can reach.
Let me tell you,
up there.
He took a picture of this loam, and a squirrel had been chewing on that wire, and that was noted in my report.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing for you to do, but just realize,
Yeah.
A squirrel has been eating your stuff.
Yeah, inspecting cars is a lot of fun, and people, people often don't sit down to read about their cars and really don't have the time or don't really care to know about them either. I mean, because they're so complicated, and there's layers of warranty too. You've got a 12-month, 12,000-mile bumper-to-bumper that covers squeaks and rattles. And then it goes on to 336, and then something else might go to 50. And then you've got your 8-year, 80,000-mile manufacturer federally mandated emissions component warranty. And then sometimes there's extended warranties that the manufacturer comes up with, like when Nissan was having trouble with their transmissions, they called everyone and said, hey, we'll cover that car out to 150,000 miles. It's got a transmission problem. Well, if you don't know and you don't have somebody that you can trust to tell you that things are like that are happening in the industry, then you don't know. You can miss out on all kinds of good stuff.
And you guys know about all that kind of stuff for the particular cars.
I read about cars every day, at least 2-3 hours a day. So I'm covering 20 hours a week, maybe 25 hours a week worth of, vehicle-specific research, market research, sales numbers, all kinds of other stuff.
And I think I know this, but I'm going to ask you just for the benefit of the listeners. You don't repair cars. You're not affiliated with anybody that repairs cars.
Nope.
You're a completely independent guy.
Third party, fiduciary, like an investor guy. I have your best interest at heart under all circumstances. But I pull my experience from 35 years in the field of fixing everything from diesel generators to Saab turbos to BMW bulletproof diplomat cars to just about anything else you can think of that came my way. Hardcore electrical diagnostics. I got really good at that. And so after 35 years of doing that, I decided that it would be fun to get out of the shop, get some sunlight on my face, and drive around town. Something you don't get to do a lot when you're a mechanic or working at a service shop. You're kind of stuck in the back, and what I call the dark, smelly cave. And so it was good after all that time and all that experience to get out in the field and go share my knowledge and help people. And besides, it satisfies the consumer advocate in me. I've always had a thing about consumer advocacy, going all the way back to high school. I think I wrote a couple of papers on it in high school too, and never really was able to sink my teeth into it until I started doing independent inspections on cars. Then I started reading about the laws and about the rules and the regulations and everything else that goes along with it. And Colorado has got at once it has a pretty lame system, but it also has a pretty good system. You know, for instance, there's no certified mechanics in Colorado like there is in California or in Michigan or in New York.
Now, is that ASC? Is that what that's
well,
called?
no, they're in some other states they're regulated like real estate agents.
Okay.
You have to have a license, you have to pass a test, and everything else, right? There's none of that in Colorado. So that's kind of bad for us as consumers in Colorado because, you know, anything goes at the repair shop. But we also have some pretty cool laws on the books that are there, and you can take advantage of them if you know they're there. And what's crazy about the automotive laws is that they don't really involve a whole lot of money for lawyers. So no lawyers are really reading Title 12 or Title 42 because there's no gravy in it for them.
Gotcha.
Sorry, lawyers, if there's any lawyers out there. It's just, I know you're not reading it either because there's no money in it. But as a consumer advocate, if you start reading Title 12 and Title 42, you find all these little things that your eyebrow goes up and you're like, wow, I didn't know I had that kind of a right or that kind of traction with a dealership.
Right.
But there's all kind of stuff in there. You know, for instance, just the word as is, probably the most misunderstood thing that I've come across in the last 10 years.
Tell us about that.
As is. Well, what do you think it means, Daniel?
I'm going to say that it's as it is. You as it sits here, there you go. You're buying it, and then that's yours.
So there's you sign the paper, you drive it home. You got nothing.
Right.
You're out.
You're just
out
out
in
the
cold.
money, and there you go. And hope you like it. Hope you test drove it because it's yours.
Well, there's actually two meanings to the word, to the phrase "as is." The first one is the one you see on the window placard, that FTC label that goes in the window that says, with the check box that says no warranty or warranty as is. The word "as is" on that piece of paper means that by checking that box as is, they're disavowing anything that was said verbally. That's all that means. So it just is washing away the implied warranty. Like they say, oh, it was driven by a grandma, or this thing will go another 100,000 miles, or it's the perfect car for you, and you know, the transmission will never break. You know, they can say anything. But when they check that box as is, that disavows all implied warranties and anything that's verbal. But then in the law of Colorado, see, that's a federal law, the FTC placard in the window, implied warranties. In the state law, as is, there's actually some beef in that, because in Title 42, as is implies, not just implies, but specifically states that the car has to be roadworthy.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
So they can say, oh, look, it's as is, you're on your own. But if you take the car and the anti-lock brakes don't work, or the airbag light is on, they're not supposed to sell that car, because roadworthy means there's an expectation that it's going to pass an emissions test, that it's safe to drive, it can keep up with traffic, all the safety systems are intact and functioning as they were originally designed. So as is actually gives you a big bootful of traction with a dealer if you know where to look in the law. So that's and dealers use that to their advantage. You buy a car, check engine light comes on the next day. Well, that's probably not going to pass an emissions test. But they say, oh, it's as is. You're on your own. And you believe, oh, well, I am on my own. It's as is. I'm out of luck. But that's just not true. Not in this state.
Well, that is good information.
And it's the stuff the lawyers don't know because there's no, like I said, there's no gravy in it for them.
Oh, well.
But it helps out consumers on a small level, just knowing the two different meanings of as is.
Well, and I just don't. I think that it benefits everybody to have somebody with your level of expertise. I know a lot about cars, and I've had a lot of cars. I got a bunch of motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really interested in stuff, but I am not keeping up with things like you are. So I think unless you're just a mechanic that's going to do his own work or whatever, the peace of mind that you'll have saying, hey, look, here's a list of the stuff. You want to buy the car, go ahead. Just go into it with your eyes open. Or maybe you could tell them that you want this fixed, or you want $300 off of the car.
That's right.
And take
That's
it,
right.
and then take it over to a reputable shop and tell them to look at this pulley or harmonic balancer thing or
That's
whatever.
right. Because even a 1-year-old car can have $10,000 worth of problems.
Well, and getting back to the Cadillac that I bought, the detective work that we did after the fact, or that I did, or I don't remember, which one of us came up with it, but I think what happened was somebody leased that car and their kid wrecked it or something like that under the lease, and they figured, oh crap, let's just take it to somebody's backyard mechanic or whatever, slap the thing back together, and hopefully it passes the inspection, because this dealership wrote down made me sign the Carfax, made me sign a different other Carfax thing that was a different company.
Right.
And, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, saying that there's that it's clean title and all that
Clean
other stuff.
Carfax,
Yeah.
no
Clean
accidents.
Carfax, no accident.
That
Doesn't
car
mean
had
anything.
an accident.
Yes, it did.
And you found out about it where I would have not known.
Yep.
Until a week later or 10 days later, and then I really could have been on my own. As is or no as is, whatever. I mean, I
Right.
could have been a big problem.
That's right. That's right.
What happened when you brought it back? What's the story then? I mean,
Well,
they were gracious, but you pointed this out, these small things that you wouldn't have seen ahead of time.
Well,
What
I
happened?
think the thing that happened to me, and I will say this, and I will take an oath, the Boy Scouts oath, on this show with a live audience, I promise that I am going to have my used cars checked out by you before I buy them, because it's not worth, that drive over there thinking, oh, you are an idiot, and your wife is never going to let you forget this. So, that being said, my recommendation to the listeners is just have Norris come out and give you the thing first. Then you'll know. But in this case, he loaded my guns up a little bit because I had stupidly already gotten the car. And he said, you need to say this when you go to the dealership: undisclosed material damage. And he gave me the magic words to say. And in my case, it was really pretty good, because the sales guy wasn't there and somebody else wasn't there. And I said, hey, look, I want to turn this car. It has undisclosed material damage. It's been involved in an accident. You guys didn't tell me that. I want my money back. It's been within 3 days.
Yep.
And I want my money back.
Yep.
And it happened to be the general manager of the dealership that was sitting there. And he said, hey, type it up, send it over. I'm going to send you over to the finance department. They're going to cut you a check. And they were very gracious, and they gave me all my money back. And again, I'm not mentioning the dealership, but they're selling this car again.
Of course they are. And now you have to ask yourself.
Imagine that they fixed it.
Well, no, they didn't fix it, but you think they'll disclose the damages next time?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I don't know either.
I do know that, it's worth a couple $100 extra for me in the future not use it as a tool to just kind of make sure my cars are tip top.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it as an edge to make sure that I'm buying what I think that I'm buying. Because, all I wanted was a fair shake. I just wanted what I thought I was buying.
Yeah.
And, I was happy with it. Had a 30,000 miles on it. I was happy with the little wear marks in the back or whatever. And, I know I'm not buying a brand new car, and I'm a big boy, and I'm happy with all that kind of thing. But I should at least get the benefit of my bargain.
That's right. You should get what you paid for.
Right.
Yeah. You deserve that. So why do you think the Carfax and the auto check reports were clean, but I found crash damage?
I think what happened was somebody's kid wrecked it, or they wrecked it, and they didn't disclose it to the lease people.
Right. Or the lease people saw it and fined them for it, and they had to pay that damages when they turned in the lease.
Could be.
But are lease companies required to report to Carfax?
I don't know that.
Are they self-insured, or are they falling back on a policy? And is that insurer reporting to Carfax?
Right.
And you got to ask yourself: is anyone required to report to Carfax? Required.
And I got to assume
That's
the
a good
answer
question.
is no.
Is it a no?
The answer is no.
Wow.
And in fact, only last I read, about 49 to 51% of insurance companies report to Carfax, and about 0 body shops report to Carfax.
So you think that you're getting this, hey, Carfax, everything's good, and really doesn't mean
it doesn't mean anything. It's a like I tell my wife all the time. She's like, "Oh, honey, look at that ad on TV," and I say, "Does it have a cartoon character in it?" Because if it does, I'm not in.
Right.
And Carfax has a cute little car fox.
Car fox. Yeah.
Car fox, and the fox is gonna hook you up and make sure you're not embarrassed by getting a bad deal. But and not to disparage, facts. I was gonna say something else, but they're just monetizing an ancient system. And that ancient system is based on getting data from county DMVs that was available at a clearinghouse, and then they could resell it to a customer. And that was, where was the car registered, how long was it owned, when was the last time a DMV saw it, and all that's real, and that's very reliable. But the other stuff that they say that they can do, none of that is really very reliable at all. And you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't by this time. But
I've been burned a little bit.
Earlier this summer, I saw a car that had been total loss, not once but twice over total loss, and it still had a clean Carfax.
And a salvage title.
It had a salvage title and serious, heinous crash damage, and it had been totaled from hail. So 2 different massive events, still in a salvage title, and still had a clean Carfax.
So, was that a sort of thing you see it and you're like, hey, this has been totaled, or someone had put it back together enough to look normal?
They put it back together to where it looked good on the outside,
Sure.
Kind of like a particle board shelf, that it looks really great until you load it up with books, and then it goes,
right.
Yeah.
What happens with a totaled car? I know a lot of people buy a salvage title car, but you're not allowed to insure that for full coverage anymore because it's already been totaled once.
That depends on the insurance company.
Okay.
Some don't care, and others will not allow you to do it.
Because I remember I called my agent on one because we were going to buy a beater for my granddaughter, and he said, no, don't do it.
Well, I've heard other people talk about buying a salvage car as it's some kind of great deal, but there's always that caveat, and that is that, well, sure, it was wrecked, but it was rebuilt. It was put back together. But how well was it put back together? And that's really the point. If the car had $10,000 worth of damages and it was only worth $15,000, it's a total loss. So somebody buys it at the auction for, $1,500. Are they going to put the other $8,000 back into it to get it to where it's safe again. No, they won't make any money if they do that. They're gonna do it as cheaply as possible, and to get it back on the road, and make it look like it's a good deal.
And at that point, we're talking about safety issues too. And that was one of the things in this Cadillac, unseen.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of salvage titles, in Colorado, I'll go on about the law some more. When a car gets branded as a salvage, it has to be re-inspected for safety. And Colorado State Patrol, the only people authorized to do what they call a certified VIN inspection, to make sure the car is properly branded and the stamped, rebuilt from salvage, and that it looks like it's safe to drive and it's roadworthy again. Well, I've seen cars after the Colorado State Patrol chief, what's your name over there in Golden?
Don't get me in trouble.
You're not in trouble. I didn't mention his name. Okay. But the program is deeply flawed. I saw a Subaru a year and a half ago that literally had a 2x4 shoved into the frame to hold the bumper back out. And that passed the State Patrol's certified VIN inspection for being roadworthy.
Wow. You know, we used to have
a 2x4 in the crumple zone. Yeah. And anybody could have seen it. So what's the State Patrol doing?
Well, we used to have a safety sticker on your window back when I was a kid.
Yeah, oh yeah,
How
safety.
Come we don't do that?
We ditched that.
Emissions, but I mean, now we don't make sure the cars are safe. Why don't we do that?
I think it's because of our climate. We really don't have the kind of problems that other states have, where you would need a safety inspection, like in Maryland. They have rust and road
Cars
salt
okay.
and cars are in horrible shape in just 5 years. They're just a rust bucket. So they need a physical inspection. Utah has a physical inspection of cars on a regular basis. Colorado doesn't have that. Not saying we couldn't use it, but
I think it would be a good idea.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
I've heard that you shouldn't buy a used car from Florida because the salt.
I've seen some really clean cars come out of Florida.
Really?
It's a big state. Not all of it's close to the sea.
Sure.
But that's a good point.
See, now that's the other thing that's going to happen to me. I went to the dealership and I told the guy exactly what I wanted on this Cadillac. I said I want a 2016, 2017. I want a triple black. I want suede interior. I want the platinum with the running boards. Here's exactly what I want, just like that other car. Oh yeah, we could find whatever you want, and just get it here.
Right.
If there's a car somewhere else in the country, we'll get it here.
Yeah, they call it the broker service. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
My mechanic,
inspector,
it's going to be subject to my guy's approval. And if you ship it out here and he finds things that I don't like, I'm not buying it and I'm not going to pay for shipping it here. So as long as you're happy with that, I'm happy to do that. Is that my reaction to them? Is that what I say?
That's an awesome plan, and sometimes it works to your benefit. I've had over the years now, I've had some really great customers, and they've learned that the threat of having an SOS inspection done on a car just stops the dealer in their tracks. And they'll say, "Oh, SOS is coming out to do that inspection." Okay. They call them back a half hour later. Yeah, we just sold that car. It's gone. You can't come and inspect it because we sold it. It's out of here, But you look on their website a week later and it's still for sale.
Right.
Because they were playing peekaboo. They didn't want me to see the car because they knew what they had wasn't going to pass muster.
Now I have a question here. So I'm having a hard time visualizing the car's at a dealership and you've been contracted to come out and inspect it. Do you just do it right there in the parking lot, or you take it to a special?
No, I just do it right there.
Right there.
Just
he did Cadillac in my driveway.
Yeah.
Well, I understand in your driveway. I understand, but you're going to a dealership.
Yeah, wherever it sits, wherever it's at, just
and they obviously don't like it. Obviously.
Well, some of them do. Some of them actually like it, but most of them don't. There's dealers in town. And I could name a few. I'm not sure I should.
Let's not do that.
But
no. Maybe next time we have you on the show.
There are dealers in town that when they find out I'm coming, will do everything, including an office-wide conspiracy to hide a vehicle, to make it unavailable, to pretend it's sold, to pretend it's stolen, to hide it in the wash bay, to take it across the street and park it in the RTD park and ride just to make it disappear so I don't get my hands on it. And thankfully, there's not many of those. But there are also good dealers out there who welcome me onto the lot because they say, "Wow, it's awesome that you're here because that means I have a qualified buyer."
Right.
That guy's not jerking me around. He really wants that car. He's going to invest in an inspection. Have at it. This is going to add a lot of confidence to the transaction. When you're done, that car is going to be sold, or it's not, or I'll be able to negotiate. But there's a whole new level of trust when all the cards are laid out on the table. Here's the condition of this car as it sits right now. Let's talk turkey, and that goes a long way. And smart dealers like it a lot.
And there are some unscrupulous people out there in the car business. Yeah. And I don't want to name any names, but
I didn't know.
Of them.
I didn't know how bad it was. When I first started doing this, I thought, I'll go find some things wrong with some cars and help people stay out of trouble. I didn't realize what I was going to find when I got out in the marketplace. And it is worse than I had ever thought it would be.
And Absolutely. It's not just dealers either. I mean, there's individual people that are on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've found stolen cars. I've walked up to guys that are selling cars out of their house, like pretending to be a dealer. They've got like 8 or 10 cars parked around the block. And they're walking people around, going, "You want this one? You want that one?" That's highly illegal,
right?
And they tend to shoo me off right away. Let's get this guy out of here. There's no way he's going to like anything that I have in inventory.
Too legitimate.
So, way too legitimate. Yeah,
that is awesome. Hey, I would like to open up the phone line, see if any of the listeners have anything they want to jump in while we're talking. If the phone rings, then we'll just.
Did you want to have Jeff come up and do a spot? Give Norris.
We
a break?
certainly can do that as well.
Let's give Norris 5 minutes.
Okay.
And you want to?
Yeah.
Let Jeff come up here.
Yeah. Let me see. If
we got a little bit more time for you.
Yeah.
We'll turn the corner.
Yeah.
See if we have any calls. And Norris, thank you so much for coming and seeing us. We really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure the listeners. I got a bunch of things lighting up. Steve said, "I trust Norris." And I'm sure there's a lot of people in Denver that feel that way, because I know I do. And, just to get the peace of mind, Oh, did he? Okay, well, good.
But he can call.
No, that's fine. I just didn't want him waiting.
Okay.
I'll take a phone call from anybody anytime.
Okay, here, let me get that going
too.
here. All right, so phone number's on the screen. If anybody has any questions or comments for Norris, the number is 720-507-1939. He's running for the door, so you better hurry. If you have any questions, give us a call. 720-507-1939. Questions, comments, experiences that you want to share, we are here for that. Usually takes a minute or two, but then get some people in. I had a funny thing that happened. When I bought my car, I bought it. It was new, and that was 10 years ago, and I wasn't quite as evolved as I am now. But when I bought it, the guy kept telling me I was looking for a manual. That was the thing that was important to me. I wanted a stick, and I was buying an Xterra, so they're hard to find. And I found one. And the guy's like, "Oh, this has satellite radio in it," and I knew that didn't come as an option on the manual ones. And I said, "Hey, I don't think it does." He's like, "No. Look right here. Someone's."
Chef.
Is he on? Oh, he's not calling on the thing. Let me see if I can catch him real quick. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, I was gonna call again. I don't think we're gonna get that one. No. He's gonna try that again. Hold on a second. Anyway, so I said, "Hey, I don't think this has it on there." And he said, "No. Look, it says XM ready or whatever right here on the thing." And so I bought the car anyway. And we're gonna take a break here and get Jeff on the phone here. Jeff.
Hey, guys.
Hey, there he is. Oh, everyone's going to get their headphones on here. Nobody ever does that.
Jeff, you waited, and now I've got to put these headphones on.
I know you don't like
My guest has to put the headphones on. So
Oh, man.
you're going to have to give some pretty special Action Computer deals out because you're interrupting our car show.
You're messing up my hairdo.
Messing up his hair.
Well, I figured you guys have a great car guy on the show. You might as well have a great computer guy, too. And I definitely have those deals down at Action Computers. We're a proud sponsor of the Mark Hope Show, and we always give your listeners some deals, and I have those ready to go. So if you guys are ready for them, I got them.
Wait a minute. This is actionpc.com, right?
That's exactly right.
ActionPC.com.
I was on that website today and looking for a replacement box because the one I had running Netflix on my home system. You know, you can't have a good good home entertainment system without a DVD,
No.
right? Like
You
in
gotta
McCool.
have it.
Anyway, I was looking at the new Windows 10 or a used Windows 10 PC box for my entertainment system, and I couldn't believe what I saw on the website. Couldn't believe it. I'm like,
For sure.
I'm like, wait, I couldn't hit the buy it now button fast enough. In fact, I'm
That's
going down to the
awesome.
store tomorrow
That's
because I just couldn't believe the deal. It's crazy.
We definitely have that. I mean, we owe a lot to our buying power, and I mean, we sell thousands of machines to people who are, interested in saving money, and that's really what we're all about. So I appreciate you saying that. Glad we could get you some good prices there.
Well, and along with the theme, Action Computers does that with computers. They go through everything, they check everything, and re-warranty it and make sure that everybody's taken care of.
Well, you can certainly get a lemon with a computer, and if you don't know where to shop and you don't have somewhere reputable to buy it from, I've seen computers that go for 2 or 3 days. You buy it on a cheap website or a classified page, and they go for a couple days, then they throw up a bunch of errors. I mean, just like a car. And you don't want to be in the middle of that. I mean, ours are checked out. They're thoroughly examined by an A-plus certified tech, and we make sure everything's checked out and good for you. And some of those specials are coming through for the holidays too. That's what we're all about right now, getting those holiday deals, last-minute shoppers. So.
Well, and you've got some computers that are to be great for kids for Christmas, right?
Oh, great timing for that. We actually just
Laptops.
got in a big load of Dell Latitude 15-inch laptops. They're very rare. We usually don't see too many of those. But we just got them in. Core i5, 15-inch screen. They have a solid-state hard drive, which is the high-speed hard drive. We usually retail those for $349, but your listeners, Mark, they get an extra $50 off that. $299. You just got to mention the show.
That's
and
awesome.
That's just one of, thousands of deals that we have. We have desktop computers. We're doing those, including monitors, starting at $99. You just can't beat us. There's nowhere, even online, that you can buy a computer for those prices. So.
And you can hook them up with the two monitor setup if they want it and all that stuff.
Yeah, 1, 2. Some people like running 4 monitors on their desks. We have you taken care of there too.
All right. Well, Jeff, thanks for calling and thanks for all the support on the show. We really appreciate Action's deals for our listeners, and we'll let you get on with your weekend.
Anytime. You guys have a good one. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. So, your Xterra had
So the
OnStar.
the XM radio, which was a bigger thing back in 2010, but it didn't have it. Of course, it didn't have it. It wasn't an option, and they when I took it back afterwards and said, hey, this guy said, hey, this has this on here. What do you want to do about it? And they didn't do anything, but they gave me some kind of some kind of runaround and some kind of, hey, sorry, here's a floor mat or whatever. But what is your take on that? This was a new car.
Have a glazed donut.
Right. It was a new car, and I have another funny story about that experience. It was a new car, had like 20 miles on it or something like that, and it said the XM ready, and I didn't expect it to have it on there, but the guy had said, hey, I guarantee you this has it on here. So you guarantee it. So I guarantee that it has it. What's your take on that? Just nothing you can do? I mean, it's all whatever's in the paper, right? I mean, with a guy, if the salesman says it, even a new car, doesn't matter.
Well, you can hold their feet to the fire on an implied warranty, or an implied feature
yeah.
on a car, especially a brand new car. Yeah, you can. It'd be nice to have them on tape saying that, but if you can get a text or an email or anything else like that, you can definitely hold their feet to the fire on an implied warranty, even if the paperwork completely disavows all of that stuff. You still have their comment or their promise that the car has that feature.
Interesting.
And that doesn't really come into the law part of it. It comes more into the dealer board conduct rules. And there's a lot of deep stuff in the conduct rules of how dealers are supposed to interact with customers.
Sure.
That the public never gets to see. But there's traction in there too for that.
And they're afraid of that.
You're right, especially if you know the right words, like the words I gave you. Like, you don't know, you can say, this car's been in a wreck, I'm not happy. But if you use the right words, you failed to disclose material damages. Then
I said it just like that too.
Well, when they hear those words, they know that you know what you're talking about.
So they might as well just make it right and move on.
It's like, well, we're not getting past this. He's not gonna walk out of here with a glazed donut and be happy.
Right.
So better undo that deal right now. In fact, I want to brag here for a second, but I got a guy from Boulder named Leaf. Hi, Leaf. I hope you're watching. I got him his money back on a car that he had bought 60 days earlier.
Oh, my God.
It was a salvage title car. As is, salvage title 60 days ago. I got the dealer to write him a check for $17,000 and give him back the car because I told him how to say the words that are meaningful to that dealer and what kind of trouble they can get in and what kind of laws and rules they've broken. And the guy just sat down and wrote the check. There you go.
And which is awesome. However, don't be like Leaf and I. And not have the car inspected in advance. I mean, can you imagine the heartache he would have saved if you would have just went, hey, look, you're not buying this car.
Yeah.
You're not buying the blue one. Look at the red one
right
here.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's so, and that's what I kept saying to myself when I was driving to that dealership that morning after I met with you and I went back there to try to, get him to do the right thing. I was like, Mark, why didn't you just have Norris look at it first?
Just send me out there.
Because I'm going to do it anyways. You
That's
know
right.
me.
That's right.
Yep. Now that I know that there's this service that can check everything, I mean, my OCD alone makes me want to just do it because I want to know what's going on.
You have that problem too?
I think everyone has that.
Oh, man.
But the other thing that I will tell people in advance is that one thing I learned after doing so many of these with you is you have to have the car be cold. It needs to be the first experience for that car in the next day.
That's my trade secret.
Okay.
Is the cold.
Can we share that with the listeners?
That's my trade secret, the cold start. And that's what makes a mobile pre-purchase inspection more valuable than taking it to your favorite mechanic. Because you take the car from the dealer, you drive it down to your favorite mechanic. The engine is steaming hot.
Yeah.
And you've relieved him of the opportunity of ever hearing a cold start on that car. However, I set up an appointment with the dealer. I tell him, don't start that car. If I show up and the engine's warm, I'm turning right around and you won't sell it. When I get there, I want to be the guy that starts it up cold. Yes, sir, we'll have it cold for you. So I get there and I get to start it up cold. That lets me see some things that you would never see, your mechanic would never see, and no one's ever paying attention to. And I disqualify a lot of cars just on the cold start alone. things like a rattling timing chain you would never hear on a hot restart.
Okay.
Tailpipe smoke, and you don't see the tailpipe wisp of oil smoke come out of there because when the car is hot and the catalytic converter is hot, it eats that smoke and doesn't let it out the tailpipe. But when the cat's cold, it sneaks past and goes out the tailpipe, and you can see a puff of blue smoke on a cold start. And a couple other things that I do that are a little too secret to reveal. But,
Yeah, don't reveal them.
I can't give it all away.
But it's the only reason I bring it up is so when the listeners, if they were trying to schedule something, hey, I went out and test drove this car, okay, can you come out this afternoon? We've been driving the car around.
Yep.
You give yourself a day notice
Or 4 hours.
And can you call the dealership for them?
Yeah, we do that.
If they say, look, I've got it over at so-and-so dealership.
Yep, I have a dispatcher that makes all the arrangements and handles the payments and contacts the sellers and makes sure everything is lined up.
But that way they don't have to be in an adversarial kind of thing with the dealership.
That's
you
right.
kind of take over that role.
Yep.
And they're not going to push you around like they might push somebody like me around.
That's right.
Or Daniel, especially.
Yep. In fact, a lot of them see my car pull into the parking lot, and everybody kind of straightens up. It's like, oh, he's here.
That's awesome.
You got those keys? Make sure the keys are ready. Who knows where that car is? Make sure.
All right, we got about 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. So if there's anybody that wants to call in with any desires or any questions, the nature of the show as we do it, this Facebook Live taping of the iTunes creation of the podcast creation allows for this media to stream all over the networks, and so this is going to be re-listened to many different times. Look in the show notes that you can get a hold of Norris. If you're forwarding this or listening to it after we've done the live broadcast, you can go ahead and leave questions on the Mark Hope Show podcast page on Facebook, or reach out to us at the email or
the group.
The Facebook, the group, or the phone number, or you can contact Norris directly at 303-949-6117. Maybe you could say that without stuttering.
303-949-6117. That's dispatch.
Okay.
And my personal cell phone that I don't give out to everybody is 720-940-4752, and I will answer any question about any car of any age, whether you already own it or are thinking about buying it. I'll do that on the phone for free. That's for awesome. Anybody, anytime.
What?
See, that is a guy that's helping people.
There.
That is a guy that's helping people out there. And let me tell you, again, I do not have people on this show that I don't trust, that I haven't vetted myself personally, and I believe in SOS inspections. And you would have gotten on the show at some point. I would have said, hey, look, we got to promote your business on the show. But it just so happens when I was buying this Cadillac that I was like, man, we got to have you on the show now.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and this has been a lot of fun. Nice to meet you, Daniel, and Mark, and
we'd love to have you back.
And
Action, we have the listeners, if they have car questions, we'd love to have you back.
Action PC rocks.
Well, thank you.
I know I'm a customer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have been a long time customer, and we appreciate
good
that.
stuff.
But I think good companies have a tendency to make good friendships.
They do,
because if you care about your customers, you end up shopping somewhere.
I network with some other people. I know repair shops all over the state, and talk to my buddies, and compare car problems and other stuff to get through the week, and that's what small business does, and that's how small business keeps a leg up.
Yep.
Is by caring for your customers in a way nobody else can. Nobody can.
Well said.
And that is exactly how we feel about all the businesses that we run. And if you're not taking care of the customers, they don't come back. So.
Well, who else have you had on this show?
Oh, we've had a bunch.
We have had a bunch.
Mike Learn, I don't know if you know who he is.
Sounds familiar.
Learn Guitars.
Oh, yeah.
He's an artist here, local artist in Denver. And we've had
We had Christina L's on from
Metamorphosis Fitness.
Yeah. And what else you got? I can go back through the show listings and tell you, but
We have Matt Feeney from Adaptive Adventures. He's a Littleton High School alum.
Yeah, I've heard of Matt.
yeah.
Yeah. And bunch.
Who
We
forgetting?
had we have Wave the Grain, Allison from Wave
Allison.
the Grain Bakery. She runs this, and that story is just fantastic. She runs this bakery, and her son is just a special guy, and he is in Legend High School in the developmental disadvantaged kind of, differently abled type of scenario, but he's been thriving in all these classes and the Special Olympics and all this other different things. But Allison said to herself, she said, everybody is really providing this thriving environment for Justin, but he's graduated from high school. Now, what is he going to do in life?
Right.
He's going to have to go out to this cruel world where maybe people aren't so, nice. So she starts a bakery,
Wow.
and that's where Justin works today.
Wow.
And they do specialized diets and gluten-free diets and things
Oh,
like
nice.
that. It's just,
Oh,
'cause
God.
she had to do the special menus for him his whole life.
I think I know a few people that are going to want to hear about that.
Well, they do a huge keto
Yeah.
thing, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is huge now, too, if you want a
Yeah.
little cake, but you're doing the keto diet or whatever. But yeah, that's what this show's all about. And we are here to help people. And you said something about customer advocacy, and I really didn't interrupt you, but that's our gig. We want to have help go out to those people that are, in the community that need to learn from the people that have been in business a long time, or people that are just starting off their side gig. And I promised I was going to ask you that question, because there's a lot of people that are just cracking full-time jobs, but they have a passion for something else, and so they start it up on the side, and then they become successful. And we speak to those people quite a bit. You are that evolution.
Yes.
You work a
Yes.
full-time job, and
Yeah.
then you're saying, look, I want to do this thing on
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah.
I want to make that happen for myself and my future. And these
I've got a
people."
quick joke, or maybe just a story about how I got started.
Okay.
For sure.
So I'm at work, and the boss comes up and he says, "Dude, we're getting a lot of complaints about you. Other employees, they're saying things like mental. So I'd like you to go see a psychiatrist." And I said, "I don't understand how I'm going to be able to help that psychiatrist, so I don't know why I'm going to go." That's a joke. But when it comes to breaking out into something new, trust me, there's no other way to do it besides all in. I did this. I started this in the depths of the 2008 recession,
Oh, my goodness.
and looked around the landscape. Business was horrible all over town, and I thought, well, it's now or never. Let's get going on this. How much worse could it possibly be? It couldn't get worse. Couldn't be a worse time to start it. Might as well start it now, and just slug it out. There's great people out there to help you figure stuff out, like Mark, right here. This guy is highly motivational.
I appreciate that. But, if you're helping people, you've almost won the small business battle. If you can look in the mirror and say, I'm going to go to work today and I'm going to help people either get their computers or save some money or make sure they don't get screwed on a car deal or make sure the car's safe or make sure that they can get some food that's not going to make their kids sick or whatever. If you've got a business and you're helping somebody, you're almost 3/4 of the way there.
That's so right. Yeah. You might be eating ramen for a little while, but you've got that good feeling that you're helping people, and
that's where the passion comes from.
And it's going to succeed.
You become the authority in your space. And that's specifically true for you because you are really the champion for those people of saying, let me tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And let me be thorough. Because there's so many people that say they're going to do things for you, and they're not as thorough as you are, And like you said, I'm not knocking any shops or whatever, but that dealership, and I said, please look over this car. It's important to me that it's safe. luckily she was honest enough to me and said, "Oh, we don't do that."
Right.
You know, she could have been dishonest with me and just not done it.
Right.
And I ran it through the dealership. Think, oh, they said it was good. That's good. Who cares that the wheel comes off on the mountain while I'm going up skiing? Oh, we can't tell you that. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You know, so
Right.
just a tremendous peace that you can give people and safety when they put their little babies in those cars. Daniel's got 2 little baby girls. I mean, I guarantee you that, you know, the safety of the car that they're in and this heavy Denver traffic, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
it sure is.
Norris, thank you for what you do, and we definitely want to have you back.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mark.
So
It's been a lot of fun. I got a bunch of stories I could share.
Oh, I'd love to hear more. That'd be great.
That just go on and on and on. And Daniel, we probably need to talk about that Xterra that you got sitting out there
Right.
too. So
What do you want to say? What do you have to say about that?
I really, well, I have to ask you what year it is first.
It's a 10.
2010?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Just a couple things you need to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. No,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. For everybody out there, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and Google Play Store, and also on Spotify. We're on there as well. So subscribe.
and if you'd like your business featured on the show, reach out to the producers on the page and
through the group, the Mark Hope Show podcast page, or the Mark Hope Show podcast group.
we're booked out pretty far, but if you would like to, you know, be on the show or do a call in or something like that, especially if you're somebody that's helping our listeners, we will bump some things around and we will kind of make room for people like Norris that, you know, really, really helped me out. I mean, that day it was just kind of a letdown that I didn't get the car that I wanted, but it was more intimidating. Like, are these guys going to give me a problem? And, you know, thanks to you, it was very easy for me.
Well, I got paid to do what I love, and it was fun working with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
Great to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening.